Hi and welcome back to part 5 of our tutorial. We're going to get on to some level design now. A couple of things I wanted to do just to make our lives easier is just wanted to show you some of the tweaks that I made to this car. So it was a bit slidey when we finally got it up and running, so if you select all of these, and I changed the there's a lot of numbers here to change, but the stiffness value is the only one you really should play around with. All these other ones are really complex and you can really stuff things up. So if you want it grippier, you just put this value higher. If you want it slidier, you put this value lower. So just change the stiffness factor, and I put this forward, so this is for accelerating and braking. I put this up to 5, and I put this sideways friction up to 5 as well. And you can change them. You can also, if you want an interesting thing, if you can make this one slightly less sideways friction, and you'll get a bit of a drift if you make the back wheel slightly less grippy than the front wheels. Sometimes it just spins around, though it's quite hard to control. The last thing that I wanted to do is just bring up this script as well, because we want to be able to tweak these values. Now I hard coded and I changed some values inside the script, and I wanted to change those as well, just to make sure that we got them about right, but then I wanted to be able to tweak them. So this max steer, I left it as 20 degrees, but I'm going to make this public so it appears in the inspector, and I changed this max torque to 200. In a later video we're going to refine this, because right now it's pretty basic. It just adds steering and torque. So we are going to try and refine this and make it a little bit better. Right now the biggest issue is that it will accelerate forever, and there's no, it will continually apply that same torque, and there's no drag, so it won't ever slow down. So that's an issue. So we'll deal with that later. I just wanted to show you some of the level design now. So I've still got the car in the middle. It's a good idea to anything that you have that you think is complete or complete enough right now. I'm going to create a folder called prefabs, and I'm going to put the car in there as a prefab. Now when it's a prefab, if you don't already know, it can be dragged out just like this, and it contains everything, including all the scripts and all the settings that you've made for it. So it just makes it easier. So now if I have any scenes, if I make a test scene, I can just drag this car out onto it, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to say this is my sample scene, which was the default by when you first load it, but I'm just going to click new scene, make sure I save this one, and then I'm going to save this current scene. So the scene that I'm currently in, I'm going to save as. I'm going to put it into the scenes folder, and I'm just going to call it track 1. I'm going to do a couple of different ways of doing this. So if you go into the models folder, there's a few things that you can do with snapping that makes things a lot easier. So I've got the slider set up high so that I can have sort of good view of all the models in here, and you could rearrange them, but I'll just leave it as it is and show you what I mean by this. So what I need is basically start with maybe a straight. So there's road straight, just drag that out. Oh, actually delete that, I'll say road straight long, drag that one out, and then I'm going to reset that position. So click on the tag and then reset. Now to make more of them, you can drag out again. Maybe actually it'd be quite good to move that one out of the way. So I'm going to use the start. There we go, that's a great thing. So just reset that position. So this is set at the very, oh that's depressing, that is set at the very middle, but you can see that it's 1 unit, 1 and a bit units over. So this one doesn't actually match up quite as well as the other ones. I wonder if we just don't use that one and we use the other ones. So this one, you can see it fits exactly onto the corners. Let's drag another one out. So maybe I don't know, maybe this a different road straight long. Drag that one out. Now to get them to join up, oh, this one's got a bump in it. To get them to join up, what you can do is you can use vertex snap, which is holding V, moving your mouse over any vertex on the selected object and dragging it to other vertices on the object. Now that's a pretty good way of doing things. that means that you are able to really get tiled stuff like this exactly where you need it to be. If you need to snap the elements to the grid, so in theory I was assuming that these were all done so that they were all on the same origin, but in theory you've got this snap settings down in the edit popped up over here, and the snap all axes will snap the selected object to an axis. So if it's off slightly and you click snap all axes, it snaps it. You see how it set it to an exact number for position and rotation and scale. So the other thing with snapping is you can hold control down and move or rotate an object, and with control held down you will rotate in the snap increments, which is 1 unit. So it would be 1 unit or 15 degrees I think it is. So you're going to get a little bit better control, particularly with modular stuff like this. And the other method I want to kind of experiment with is ProGrids. So if you go to the window menu and choose Package Manager, you'll see all of the potential packages that you have. Currently this has got just all packages. Now in 2018 the ProGrids is a preview package, so I'll click Show Preview Packages, and you'll see down the list here is a thing called ProGrids. So there's we might bring post-processing in as well, make it look cool, but there's ProBuilder and ProGrids. ProGrids is the one I want particularly for this type of thing. So you just click on ProGrids, click Install, and when it's done I'll show you what it does. So ProGrids is in now. You'll see you get a new window in the 3D view right here. This allows you to switch on the standard snapping and to view or not view the grid that you're working on. The cool thing is you can put grids on different axes as well, and you can have them on all if you wanted to, and this grid can move. It's a dynamic one. You can also lock stuff as well and snap all selected objects to grid. It's really powerful, and by default it just kind of stays on. Why it's cool is because the grid size that you've set up, which is now in Tools, ProGrids, you can look at this grid sizes. There's all sorts of stuff you can do, but this allows you to just drag stuff out and it'll snap to grids. So I'm just going to do probably a little bit of level design, and yeah, I really want to get this start thing in. So if I drag the start thing in, you see how the grid has moved to where it was. So it actually goes in 1 grid increments, and you can see when you're actually on the right place. And move it across like this. And am I in the right place? Probably not. That one too high, so move it down 1, and then I can just move it across a little bit. And this is frustrating because it's exactly in line here, but it's not even working in ProGrids. So I am going to use the vertex snap for this one. Click V, drag, and ProGrids being on. I have to switch ProGrids off to get that vertex snap, but ProGrids back on again, it should make it fairly easy to do some of the rest of the stuff. So if I say long ramp, here you go, I definitely want just if you move it across and put it in, does that look like it's in line? So yeah, it works really well with ProGrids on, and it should in theory make your life a little bit easier to create the things that you need. So yeah, you should be able to just snap and drag and it should work. So yeah, I'm going to make a track and I'll leave you to it. You can choose the method that you want to do. You can either vertex snap or ProGrids to make the track. I want to make my track circular so it comes back to where it is, and there may be some issues that I find with that, and I'll see you in the next video for those.